Today I wanted to talk about sign you're a therian, but I wanted to go into a little more depth about it because I constantly see comments that go, "Am I a therian?" and they list like human things like liking animals, wanting to be an animal, liking forests, wanting to run around in a forest. Those are all like human things. So I just want to like talk about what exactly is a therian and how to tell if you are one. Basically, one thing I want to talk about is the fact that you wanting to be an animal is different from being a therian. So most people do want to be animals, but that's not what makes you a therian. Yes, it can be a leading factor towards it, also counting as species dysphoria, but it isn't exactly what makes you a therian. Basically, one of the signs I think that does make you a therian is noticing that you have a non-human personal connection with animals, and it feels more familiar than anything else. Not like you like it or you want it. It feels familiar to you, and you want to experience it because of the familiarity. This one is kind of like out there. Also, I forgot to mention, I want to go over like misconceptions as well, and the definition. So the definition of therian, what does it mean? It is somebody who identifies as an animal in an involuntary way. This can be on any level, not like I see a lot of people who are misinformed, excluding physical therian. Lycanthropes, not the clinical kind, have built this community, and are also a valid type of identifying. So if you identify as an animal involuntary in a physical way, you're still a therian. I just want to get that out of the way. And it's not a connection. If you feel spiritually connected with them instead of this like identification as them, it's a different label. What I mean by non-human connection in the first part is the fact that with all animals, you feel non-human, you feel a non-human connection, and it feels familiar to you, not specifically to one animal. If you have it to one animal, that means you are like an other-hearted, a sympath, or other labels. But yeah, talking about shifts. Also, this video isn't like a checklist. If you feel some way about something else, but the other thing you don't, you can still be a therian even if you don't have this one thing. But the first section you kind of do need to be a therian for, because that's basically what it means, non-human. So just so you know, you're still valid if you don't shift as a therian, because there's an actual label for that. That's called a sun-therian and a con-therian. Basically, a shift is where your mental perception of yourself gets shifted into a certain animal. If it's not an animal you're familiar that you identify as, it's called a cameo shift. Basically, shifts can be a really good indicator if you're a therian, but it's very rare for a non-therian to shift, and this could also lead to an awakening. So, the most common types of shifts are mental shifts, sensory shifts, but sensory shifts aren't as noticeable, so you might have shifted sensory-wise and not have noticed, therefore you might feel invalid as being a therian. Sensory shifts are common, and you probably sometimes don't tell when you have them. So mental shifts, phantom shifts. Shifts especially are a very big indicator because they imply that you do have that identification. I also want to talk about when you express yourself. If you have a questioning theory type, how does it feel when you express yourself? Does this expression feel more visual or does it feel more instinctive towards you? That's also a big indicator because when you wear gear, it's not just a visual thing. It's a thing to make you feel euphoric and feel more familiar with your theory type, and therefore it's also a sign of being a therian. Like when you wear ears, does it feel like you're cosplaying or do you feel like you're connected to it? Do the ears feel familiar to you? Do you know that they feel familiar to you? And this could be, if you feel this way with a specific animal that you're questioning, then it could also just be a stereotype as well, which is what this is inferring to. I also think recognizing some behavioral signs is also good. How do you feel when you express yourself in an animalistic way that represents your stereotype? Like, how does it make you feel? Think about it in depth. I think the biggest part of this is just your familiarity with non-humans or non-humanity. As said, therianthropy is not a visual identity, rather an internal one. So basically, what do you feel internally when you wear gear? When you wear something visual, that's what's more important to think about when you counter yourself with wearing gear. This video can also be used as reference for other like involuntary identities that have the same formula, but like you identify as like something else. So it's like you can use this video if you're questioning other kin, basically, but just replace all the animalistic connections with like mythical stuff or not, like fictional stuff. Because then again, I feel the same way with like trains as an object kin. If you couldn't tell, I'm an object kin. If you're like a person who's like new to this channel and like not returning, then you can probably tell that you probably know that I'm already like